Hi everyone, welcome to this week's video. Today I want to tackle a topic that is a bit sticky. However, it's a topic that, especially for my younger audience, you will learn a lot. I want to share with you my personal mistakes that I made in relationships and also share with you how to get out of relationships when you're feeling stuck, and specifically romantic relationships. So I've jotted down a few notes. If you just see me looking down, I'm just trying to refer to my notes so that we can have a nice chat, and so that at least I give you valuable information that will help you in your life. Take me as your big sister. I made the mistakes, you don't have to, okay? So let's begin. So I can say my very first mistake was actually confusing drama with passion. Yeah. So I used to think that intensity means love. You know, when you have that someone that you love or your boyfriend and you keep fighting and fighting, you don't have the same values and you keep locking heads. And when you lock heads, when you disagree, he disappears and then he comes back, and you have peace. And even the minute or the period when he comes back is more peaceful and he comes back with intensity and love. My friend, you're confused. Real love is actually peaceful. It brings a safe space for you to just have peace. Your heart rate is, on an even keel, and there is no drama. So when you feel like you're on a roller coaster every time, like your relationship is like this all the time, not to say that you will not have challenges in relationships, but challenges that are being caused by, I can say, petty things, or the person is intentional in not being on the same wavelength with you, and it is intense. The arguments are intense. I know some of us are even in relationships where we are physically abused. My friend, that is not love. And the worst thing about physical abuse and even emotional and financial abuse is that as a woman, you get used to it. It eats actually into your self-esteem, so that you think that this is normal. And when it eats into your self-esteem, you are now unable to get out of it. So your relationship should not be a roller coaster, okay? That is not love. So that's the first mistake. I used to confuse drama with passion. The second one is thinking that I could fix them. You cannot fix an adult, okay? Even for you, if you have to make changes in your life, it has to come from you. I can give you all the advice I can give you, but the change has to come from you. Don't enter into a relationship because of the potential of that person. Take that person as they are. Knock off their good and their bad. Does it align to where you're going? Does it align to the kind of love that you need? Otherwise, do not get into a relationship because of the potential, that you saw the potential and you think you can build on that potential. Or maybe you see this person and you see that he's not polished, but you say, okay, let me just take him, I will improve on him. It should not be a project. A relationship is not a project that you need to start working on every day just to change, especially when it comes to changing the other person. It's not possible for adults. And especially if you're in your mid-20s and going upwards, this is an adult. When you're 25 years and above, your brain is fully formed. So there's no way you can change a person. For you to think that you can change them, it's actually absurd. The change has to come from them. You can inspire the change, but it has to come from them. And it's a waste of time for you to think you're entering into a relationship, especially as a woman, to be loved, that now you want to take on another project of, reforming a man. Yeah. It's sort of, you're giving yourself double work, and you're actually getting the short end of the stick, okay? So please stop the fixing mindset, okay? So the third reason is actually ignoring my own needs. There are so many times that I went into relationship and sacrificed so much and ignored my own needs. So there are times when I even kept the peace, so that, to avoid arguments. I sort of packed my feelings so that I can avoid arguments. However, by ignoring your own feelings to make someone else comfortable, it's not a good thing. You're actually betraying yourself. You should not be ignoring yourself. You're the most important person in your life. The relationship you're going to have with yourself is a lifelong relationship. Who knows, this person may come and go. So if you're actually ignoring your needs on a consistent basis, something is really wrong. That is not normal. Then what happens actually, if you keep on packing your feelings, one day you're going to blow up and it's not going to look cute. Okay? You should not be in a relationship whereby your needs are not met, or you keep on sacrificing your needs. Let's say more than even 50%. It's a lot. You keep on sacrificing your needs for that person. You have to remember that you matter as a person. Your feelings matter, your needs matter. And if you're not okay, you cannot present yourself to the world as your very best. One thing I noticed in my own personal example, you find that, women, we are not like men, whereby men are able to compartmentalize their feelings. So how they feel at work and how they feel in their personal relationships versus how they feel, with strangers is different. And their emotions don't overlap in the different compartments of life. But as a woman, I noticed that if my needs are not met and my feelings, let's say I don't take care of my feelings and I just, let others run over me and I don't have proper boundaries, it actually now spills into the other areas of my life, which means I don't show up very well in my workplace. I don't show up very well in my other relationship, and it just becomes a mess. So that's the other reason why actually I stayed in toxic relationships. Then, excuse me. The other reason why I stayed in these relationships is because I let fear run the show. There are so many times I was afraid of being alone, and it is normal. Peer pressure is real. You're in your mid-20s or 30s. Most of all of your friends are married. You have this chap or this boyfriend or this person who's giving you trouble. You want to leave, but you can't leave, because what you're asking yourself is, am I going to hit that milestone? Do I really want to be single? What will people say? Or maybe even your boyfriend is really good at, outside he shows his good side, and, everyone thinks that you're so lucky to have this person. So you become afraid of leaving him because of, number one, peer pressure, because of, number two, age. So it's sort of absurd, because you'd rather be miserable in that relationship than be alone. But friends, I want to just submit to you that it's better to be alone, content, peaceful, and happy than be in a lifelong relationship where it is difficult, you don't have peace, and you're suffering all the time, and you have anxiety. These are the things that actually now feed into sickness and being unhealthy. You start gaining a lot of weight, you start going to the hospital, having high blood pressure, and all of those things. These are real things that people face. So as much as possible, prioritize your peace. Prioritize your peace, your mental health, your physical health, over staying in a relationship that is detrimental to you. And I can tell you for sure, if you're not at peace, you can't succeed in life. Because all the great ideas, all the juices that come from your body, that all the strength that you need to create ideas, to work hard at something, it needs you to be at peace to follow through. It needs you to be at peace to thrive. So even if you're feeling the fear, do it anyway. Leave. Okay? So I want to touch on the last part, and this is how did I get out of these relationships? Okay, I mean, I can tell you, I let people waste my time, and I don't want to sit here and let you make the same mistake. We're not doing this in this century. So the first one is I had to admit, that this relationship was toxic, or these relationships are toxic. So I stopped romanticizing these relationships. Maybe you get into an argument, the person buys a huge bouquet of flowers or brings you wine or does some huge gesture, and you start saying, okay, it's not that bad. I stopped romanticizing it. Okay, I stopped the belief that it is better for me to be miserable with someone than be happy alone. Yeah, so that's the first thing. You need to admit and call it yourself into a meeting and be real with yourself. Are you getting what you need in this relationship? If it is toxic, call it as it is. Okay, call it as it is and start planning to get out. I do understand that there are some of us actually who are emotionally and financially dependent on these people. If you have admitted to yourself that this is a toxic relationship and you're aware that, okay, for some financial reason, I'm not able to live right now, check or look at options you can do or take advantage of, and make a plan to live. Because some of these relationships will break you literally. You will come out of there a shell or even dead, especially when it comes to abusive relationships. Now, the second thing is, I told someone, I'm happy that I have sisters and friends who are so close to me, and we talk about everything. So I was sharing pieces of these relationships, how they are, the feel of them, what's happening, what are the conversations we are having, what is he doing, what are the actions that he's taking. And my friends and my sisters are actually very kind people. So they used to give me feedback like, hey, there is a red flag, and that helps to just give me confidence. Maybe I thought this is a red flag, but I didn't have anyone else to reinforce that particular thought that this is a red flag. So my friends, my sisters, actually, they are the ones who stepped in and said, okay, Jules, something is wrong here. This is not normal. Do this, and this, or how can we help you pull out of it? Yes. And the third one is, I made a plan. We've spoken about this. I didn't just pack up overnight. There are some relationships that I left overnight. There were some that I was so emotionally invested and had gone such a long way. Those ones of, you've planned a life together, you've made some investments together, and you feel like it's so hard for you to leave. So I made a plan that I knew, okay, the exit had to come. Maybe not right now, but it had to be done at some point. Now, the other thing is, I cut contacts. Especially when you find that this person is you've become emotionally dependent on them. Once you leave them, you have to cut contact. There is a way, especially if you have the long-term relationships, you find that you're so used to this person. They're toxic. Your friends have told you they're toxic, okay? So you decide to leave them. You leave. You're still in contact with them. Believe you me, if you still give them access to your life, it will be easier for them to come in and confuse you and be back in your life, and then mess you up for another 5 to 10 years. Are you ready for that? So please cut contact. And I know some of us are not so good with that. Some of us are strong enough to maybe not call people and things like that. But even if it means blocking that person on your phone, please do that, okay? So the next one is rebuilding your identity. Rebuilding your identity, rebuilding your beliefs. There are some of us who believe the person that we have right now is all we have and there's no one better. I am telling you, so long as you're alive, The good that was to come to your life has not yet come. I just mean that life will get better. Life will get better. Leave this person so that you leave room to recover, to believe in yourself more. Don't feel, don't be afraid to be alone. Better be afraid of suffering in a relationship forever and it affecting your health and even you living in a body bag, to be honest. So work on yourself belief, find community. If you're a Christian, read the Bible. Whichever faith you subscribe to, find strength in your belief and know that God is rooting for you. If you don't have faith in God, for example, you have friends that are rooting for you, and your life will be better after you leave that toxic relationship. Trust me. Trust me. Where you are, it's as bad as it gets. Better leave now than wait for regret, for the pain of regret 5-10 years down the line. Okay? No, now the last one is I forgave myself. Okay? I forgave myself for not leaving sooner, for staying too long, and for believing that I was too weak to leave. And also, I forgave myself for being in survival mode, And I forgave myself because at the point when I was in those relationships, that's all I knew. That's the best I knew. And honestly, I thought I didn't have strength to leave. So this is a conversation that I also keep on having with myself daily, to just say, okay, it's okay, Jules. You made that decision with the information you had at that time, and it was the best, or it seemed to be the best at that time. It's very important. I said before, the relationship with yourself, it's the longest relationship you're going to have in this life. It should be a good one. The way you speak to yourself is very important. Words become things. If you say you're not going to tolerate bad behavior, you're not going to tolerate being mistreated, it's going to come true. Speak to yourself gently. I can do this. I can leave. I can rebuild. And that will become a thing. It is possible. Okay? So finally, let me just stop there by saying, if you're in it now, you can leave. You don't need more proof as a woman for when things are wrong, when things are toxic, and you don't need permission to leave. Trust yourself and make the next step. Choose you. Always choose you. Again, remember, the relationship you have with yourself is the longest relationship that you have. Be kind to yourself. Prioritize yourself and always choose what is best for you.